Welcome, everybody, to day one of Trust and Forgiveness. I don't know what your journey has been, what has brought you here, but when it comes to truly living a vibrant life, it seems to me there is an energetic tie to something negative that has happened in one's life that is just preventing them from living their life fully. And the more I dug into what's really holding women back, I have found time and time again there is something around trust in themselves, in others, in God, and the willingness to forgive. So these 3 days, these 3 sessions, we are going to dive in. It might get a little bit uncomfortable. And that's good because that means that you're taking the time to actually consider what I'm saying and how you can apply it in your own life. Okay, see, it's still streaming. Good. Okay, I'm Crystal Atkinson. If you haven't already met me, I am a certified coach, trainer, speaker. I've worked in education for over 20 years. The last, I was going to say 10, but I guess it's actually 12 years. I've really focused my growth around women in leadership, and I'm really passionate about building the next generation of leaders. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that we are in a good place physically, mentally, spiritually. We can't lead if we don't contain the skill set that we're trying to instill in others. So we're going to start today with doing some work around what is trust and forgiveness? What does that look like? Why the heck would I even want to do it? Well, let's just start with this. What has the lack of trust cost you in your life? How has a lack of trust in yourself prevented you from going all in? How has a lack of trust in relationships prevented you from fostering healthy relationships or promotions or sales or more? How has the lack of trust in God prevented you from living fully, vibrantly, joy-filled? How has holding on to past hurt, trauma, or unmet expectations prevented you from choosing forgiveness? What has choosing to hold on to the hurt cost you? There's always a cost. So what does it cost you? I know these are tough thoughts. This series, this conversation is intended for people who are ready to create freedom in their lives. If you're hanging on to hurt, anger, resentment, and you have no intention of releasing it, this may not be the series for you. In this conversation, you will be challenged to recognize responsibility over where you are so that you can release where you are in order to enter a new way of being. Forgiveness is the willingness to cut the energetic ties to the hurt and change the way we view hurt from the trap of the incident to the possibility of seeing the other person as a human with their own hurts, navigating the only way they know how. I once heard that forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be different. That was profound to me. Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different. Doesn't justify or make the wrong right. It's simply no longer holding on to that energetic tie to the past. Our egos hold us back from forgiving. Don't believe me? Well, let's think of a time when you looked for an advancement at work and you thought you were clearly the most qualified person for. It's not fair that I didn't get offered the job. You've applied. I put myself up there. I've done all the things. I didn't get the job. The other person got it. They probably only got it because they knew a person or they did this or they did that. Ego. Ego is preventing you from seeing there potentially could have been a more qualified person. Then there was this time that your ex called it quits and started seeing somebody else, and you go off on a tailspin with your girlfriends. I can't believe he would do this. And did you know this about her? And oh my goodness, she's this. Ego. How about that time your partner didn't do the thing you wanted? He doesn't even care about me. All he does is this. Whenever he wants this, blah, 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 blah. Ego. Or remember that New Year's resolution that you made, or signing up for a course or a class only to drop off shortly after, and then you made all the excuses in the world. Well, I didn't actually have time for this. I thought it would be something different. I wasn't blah, 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 blah. Ego. Our ego gets in the way from us living a vibrant life. When it comes to forgiveness, we are so conditioned, so trained as a society that we need to have somebody else reach out to apologize. We need to have somebody else say sorry. So if my girls were fighting when they were little, I'd be like, Brooklyn, say you're sorry to Brianna. Sorry. Was she sorry? No. She was sorry she got caught. She was sorry she was in trouble. She was doing what she had to do, but it wasn't authentic. And so often we think we need this authentic apology as though it's going to undo all of the wrongs, and it just isn't. It never undoes it. Instead, that work needs to come from within. That narrative that we were brought up with, that we need to have somebody to apologize in order to make things right, it's just simply wrong. It doesn't work. It just does not work. Most of that time, that sorry is a reflection of something else, even if you do get an apology. I'm sorry I cheated. I'm sorry I took advantage. I'm sorry I hurt you. What does the sorry actually mean? If that's what you're looking for, if that person does say it, what does it actually mean? Well, it probably means I'm sorry I got caught, or I'm sorry I was so lonely that I chose something that I thought would make me feel better, and now I only feel worse. I'm sorry that the only way I know how to handle my own hurt is to hurt others. I'm sorry that I didn't recognize in the moment how my words or actions would impact you. But that sorry, when someone offers it, is generally about themselves, and it doesn't undo the hurt. It doesn't create capacity for change. At best, that sorry is a mere recognition that something went wrong. The I'm sorry has nothing to do with forgiveness. Nothing. Forgiveness is an internal release that allows you to recognize that something happened that you wish would have gone differently, but yourself or the other people involved didn't know how to do any better. They didn't know how to do different. Forgiveness does not make the wrong okay. Forgiveness releases you from the trap that the pain which is forcing you to live small, it's releasing you from that trap. That pain is holding you in. It's like we have these ties to energy in life. So we've got this tie to hurt, tie to anger, tie to joy, tie to forgiveness that just allows us to create a new tie. Forgiveness is deciding to cut that energetic tie to something that is causing us pain and sadness. It's choosing not to live with that anymore. It's choosing to say to our parents, I'm sorry you didn't have the strength or tools to learn another way. It's saying to someone who has said something terrible to you, I'm sorry that you don't love and value yourself enough to learn communication skills that will allow you to actually communicate what you are thinking and what you are feeling. It's saying to someone who's turned their back on a relationship, I'm sorry you don't have the ability to invest in a relationship and understand how to make it great. And instead, you're looking for the next best thing. Or to the person who is supposed to protect you, but they hurt you instead. It's choosing to say, I am sorry that you have so much hurt and trauma in your own life, that you only knew how to hurt me instead of protect me. But right now, today, I choose to cut the energetic cord that makes me feel hurt, anger, and sadness. I am not saying that what happened is okay. It doesn't make excuses for it. I'm simply forgiving you for what you didn't know, for what you weren't capable of doing, so that I am no longer attached to the feeling it caused me. I can sit in peace with my story because I'm choosing to cut that cord. It doesn't mean that story doesn't exist. It means that I am choosing no longer to feel the way that thing made me feel. And then there's trust. That ability to trust allows you to be fully present, to not push, to not force, to not work harder, but rather come to a complete peace of mind, knowing that everything you truly need, you already have. Even in the times when I was young, I can think of times when there wasn't regular food in the house. And then the food bank would come. Or we didn't have any groceries, but I would get a trip to my grandparents or aunts and uncles. And I look back and I think I was always provided for. Even in a state of nothing, I lacked nothing. When we come to a place to fully appreciate that we truly do have everything we already need, only then, only then do we open ourselves up to trust, to experience peace, and to feel free. When we live in a place instead where we're just always waiting, we're waiting for something to go wrong, we're waiting for the ball to drop, then that is the energy that we give out. And we only see our lives as this like series of obstacles, a series of wrongs, instead of choosing to look out into the world and see our lives as a series of blessings. So, do we look for evidence that things will never work out for us? Or are we instead looking around for evidence that everything is working out, that it's always working out for us? We want more in our relationships, but we miss out on the moments of joy and intimacy that could grow more moments from. We pick things apart in our lives, in ourselves, everything that's wrong with ourselves, with our partner, with our work, with our everything, with our everything. And we fixate on that. We focus on that. And then what happens? We see more wrong, instead of being able to say, this is something that's amazing about myself. I value this about myself. I value this about my partner. This part of my job is really amazing. And when we start to see those things, when we open ourselves up and we're able to say to God or the universe, whatever you believe in, I see these moments of blessings and this magic, and I am so grateful. And instead of approaching our lives from a perspective of lack, we're approaching our lives from a perspective of abundance. And then what happens is that grows bigger and bigger and bigger because we lean into those moments of intimacy. We lean into those moments of love, of having everything we need. And then we just grow something bigger, bigger. We look at wanting more. We look at wanting bigger, a bigger home, more toys, more vacations, rather than seeing the beauty of what we already have and opening ourselves up to more because we already have that magic right where we are. And then everything else is just a spin-off of where we are. When we trust that we are perfectly complete, perfectly whole, when we possess great value and purpose, we allow ourselves to become more of who we are meant to be. That purpose just becomes that lifeline, and we begin to pulsate with life because that is what draws us forward. And our interests, our changes, our passions, they're going to ebb and flow through life, but our purpose, our who we are, it just becomes so powerful that we release what is not serving us anymore. It doesn't erase, it just releases that tie. We choose complete peace through forgiveness in any disappointment, thoughts, or actions we've had that is preventing us from living our lives fully and vibrantly. My friend, everything we think, everything we experience, it comes out of ourselves. We choose what to look for. We choose how we act. We choose how we respond. We choose what we allow to continue to happen in our lives. When someone takes advantage of us, hurts us, manipulates us, we have the power to decide how to respond each and every time that happens. So when I look back on the story of my life, at all the pages, all the chapters that have formed who I am and how I've come to be, I think of all the times that I've said yes when I really wanted to say no, or I've said no when I really wanted to say yes. And I choose to forgive myself for not listening to my intuition. I look back at all the people in my life who acted in ways that didn't speak truth in my life, the people who made me feel not good enough or not worthy or not capable. And I carried their words and their actions for far too long, and I release myself from the chains they held over me. I forgive myself for carrying those lies instead of rejecting them and embracing truth. Perhaps there was a teacher who made you feel less than, or a family member who made you think you needed to act in a certain way to gain the love of others, or maybe you had a boss that made you think you weren't good enough for more, and you believed them. Recognize all the stories that have been given to you that hold no truth, no value. They do not serve you, and choose to release all of that energy attached to them that you have been choosing to hold on to. I start by forgiving myself for allowing myself to feel angry and sad for so long. Then we look back and we allow confusion or comfort or insecurity to hold us back from making that next move. This may have started even when you were a child or a teenager. Maybe it started when you were in a relationship, but somehow you lost your passion. You let your spark die out. This is the process of not seeing your life and your pain from inside where that emotional ties are. I could go into that neuroscience behind it, but instead, I just want to create a picture for you. So I want you to take yourself out of that emotional center of your heart and your brain and your gut. And I want you to pretend that you're able to actually step back, to step above you, look into your life. Where did we start holding back? See it, name it, and then release it. There is no room for the decision of our past to stop us from living our future. What is that moment? What is that time? What is that event? What was that sentence that you heard? What did you learn from it? What do you want to happen differently moving forward? That is a part of our story, but it is not our full story. You are all you've dreamed of being. Cut the ties with that negative energy. I forgive myself for allowing someone else make me question my value. I forgive myself for giving somebody else that power over me. Do you trust yourself? You may believe that you have the skill to make the next best move, to do the next thing, but do you trust yourself? Learning to trust yourself is the most necessary step before you can truly trust others. When you start listening to your gut, your intuition, you begin to realize just how powerful you are. You start to move with confidence, my friend. And then that has a profound impact on those around you because other people are completely in control over what they say, do, think, feel, but you are in complete control over yourself. You are in control of your feelings and what you are choosing to hold on to and what you are choosing to just say, no more. No more am I going to feel this way. I'm going to name it. This happened. This is what was said. This is how it made me feel. It's not okay, but I'm choosing to cut that energetic tie. And tomorrow, when we dive into how to cut those ties, when we dive into how do I actually just release that so that I'm able to sit with that experience or that person or that situation or my own wrongs, I'm able to sit with myself in complete peace. And my energy no longer gets flustered anymore. It doesn't get tied up. I no longer feel like I'm just running in circles and I've got this tornado whirling within myself. I'm going to learn tomorrow how to do that. One way. There are many ways, but I'm going to share with you one of the ways that probably had the most significant impact on myself so that I can actually sit with past disappointments, expectations that weren't met, traumas, deaths, things that were within my control and outside of my control, how I have been able to sit with all of those memories and I no longer get caught up in a place of anger and hostility and sadness and disappointment and resentment and bitterness. I no longer feel those things because I can sit alongside them and say that I'm no longer tied to that. So tomorrow, if at all possible, you're going to want to be in a quiet and private space because we're going to do some work to cut those ties. We're going to look at trust and forgiveness with others. And when you start to process this and replay this and think about this and share this with your friends and you have questions, just post your questions in this thread because Monday I'm going to go back to those questions. And I'm going to answer as many as I possibly can within my time limit. Okay, I really want to stay within that 45 minutes is my goal. So you're going to have to bear with me. If I need to add more, I'll add more. But who do you know who needs to be here? Who do you know who needs to consider this work? Who's talked about, oh man, I just keep getting back to the same space. Add them to this group. When I share the YouTube link, share the YouTube link with them. All of this is going to be in guides. I'm going to add some things in here for your reflection. But who do you know who needs this? This is step one. This is step one to really just having a look at ourselves through another perspective so that we don't get tied up in all of the wrongs, because my friend, there's going to continue to be more wrongs. And if all we do is focus on, well, they did this. Well, I never got that. Well, he did this. I would have done this. Don't they know they should have done this? I wanted them to do this. Yes, I did this, but no, 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 no. We need to look at who we are and what we bring to the table, and we need to own it. We need to own it and forgive ourselves, and then learn how to forgive others, learn how to forgive God, and then walk our lives freely. This is a 3-part series that is absolutely free for everyone. So add your friends, give them a chance. Give them a chance to also learn how to trust and learn how to forgive. They go hand in hand. They're different, and yet they're connected. Tomorrow, we're going to meet at the exact same time, 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time in this group. And then Monday, because I had a family situation come up, so I can't meet on Friday. So Monday is going to be day 3. We'll do the question and answer. We're going to do an exercise, another exercise that's going to continue off of what's going to happen tomorrow. And then if you're like, you know what, I've done this work, I'm ready for that next step. I need more. I need to move from where I am to where I want to go. Then the launch is the next step. That is a 6-module course that you can register for. It is $777. You will receive all of the course materials, all of the modules separately from this. And if you're like, I want that next step, I want to be able to rise up as the leader within me so that I can then help cut off the intergenerational trauma that's come way before me and way after me. I want to rise. Then you want to join the membership group, which is opening later this month, because in September, She Who Rises will be taking place. And the membership is just come and go. You can do 1 month, you can stay forever, whatever you want. It's $111 a month. Come and go as much as you want, but that leadership series is going to happen in that group. So I want to encourage you, when this is done, to replay this. Go back to the beginning, spend time alone, really think about this, journal out what's coming to mind. Don't filter, don't force your ideas into any one direction, but truly sit with who you are, where you are, what you're feeling. What are those things? Without blame, and just journal, journal, journal. Get them down on paper so that you're ready for tomorrow. You want to have processed this as much as possible. Thank you for being here. I'm Crystal Atkinson. This is the Vibrantly You community, where my mission is to help you fall in love with your life, understand your leadership capacity, go into your world, raise the next generation, help the people at work. I want you to live your life fully, and for you to have those tools so that you don't have the next person doesn't have that I forgive her because she didn't know better. This is giving you the skills so that you can create a new legacy in your life. Enjoy the rest of today, do the work, and I'll see you tomorrow.